changing by the hour sometimes because of the coronavirus outbreak right now. A lot of people might be wondering about some legal issues. I talked to a legal expert this afternoon. Let's listen to that. David McDivitt of the McDivitt Law Firm joining us now by Skype. David, thanks so much for taking the time. How are you?
I'm doing well, Don. Thank you. How are you doing?
You know, we're all hanging in there. It's a tough time for everybody. In fact, I wanted to start with that. With the new order that's now in effect, we're a few hours into it now.
Right.
What do you see changing for people and for families from a legal point of view?
Well, to start, and I can see why the governor issued the order. The perspective is safety first with everybody. There is a lot of confusion among a lot of industries, a lot of people, and a lot of businesses as to what is going to stay open. And the people that I've spoken to who represent just families or businesses as well have questions that they're still trying to get answers to. But I think there are resources out there to a large extent. But what can we do? What can't we do? Who is open? Who isn't open? And where can we go to get those answers? And from what I understand, the governor, issued this order, and then it's still subject to certain refinement as well, as I've kind of been led to believe.
I think it's going to be, tweaked here and there.
Yeah, and that's what I think it will be tweaked, and so we'll get more clarity each day. I mean, every day presents something brand new. Mm-hmm. And so families and individuals, businesses, just trying to keep up and understand, because almost to a T, people I know, people I represent, the people I talk to, they just want to do the right thing. They want to do the right thing for the community, for their neighbors, for their families. They don't want to run afoul of the law, but at the same time, they need to know what are the limits so that they can continue to live in a safe way, but in a way that allows them to continue to provide for their family, whether it's economically or just even providing food for their family.
And we may get more definition and clarification on some of those issues in the days ahead, I'm guessing, from the governor. Let's talk about the exact opposite of doing the right thing. Because right now, the Department of Justice is talking about possible terrorist-related charges for people who intentionally do the wrong thing. Talk about that a little bit.
That's right. Look, there are people out there who are exploiting the coronavirus to scare and intimidate other people. And the Department of Justice is stepping in and saying, listen, if you're out there making people believe that they have been exposed to coronavirus, that you have exposed them intentionally and maliciously to the coronavirus, you're going to get prosecuted on terrorism charges. And you think about what terrorism is. We're just trying to scare people and put them in the fear of their life. And that is what's happening. It's very unfortunate. It's sick. But there are people out there, and we've heard stories, who are out there intentionally coughing in front of people's faces, telling them, you got coronavirus, or licking food in front of them. Just the stuff that just has no place in society. And the Department of Justice is signaling that they're not going to have any of it.
It's disgusting, yeah. David, let's move on to what the federal government has now done as far as, or is working on as far as this new legislation to get some cash out there. What's your take on that legally?
Well, it remains to be seen what actually ends up getting signed into law. Now, what the Senate passed yesterday still has to go to the House, see if they will approve it as is. They may tweak it, add some amendments. So we don't know if what the Senate has passed is going to be what the law is, but it's got several major implications for families and businesses throughout the United States. Not least among them, direct payments to individuals who earn up to a certain amount. I think it's capped at $75,000 for an individual, or a $150,000 annual income for a couple. Mm-hmm. That if you are at that level or below it, certainly below that level, you will be getting these direct payments issued sometime in the relatively near future. But it also greatly expands unemployment benefits and expands who is eligible for unemployment to include people who are independent contractors. Historically have not been able, because of the nature of the work that they do and working for themselves, to claim unemployment. But if there are people out there now who can certify that they have lost their ability to earn an income because of specific COVID-19 related reasons, it looks like they will be eligible for unemployment benefits. It's going to extend the number of weeks that a person can receive unemployment benefits, and it will also increase the amount of those benefits too. What it looks to be, could be more than twice the average unemployment weekly check. Usually it's about, on average, $500 a week is what is paid out on average in unemployment benefits to the average person. It looks like the additional money will be $600 on top of whatever that person was otherwise making. And then also, oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, and then payroll tax credits for employers. Again, a lot of this is targeted at companies that employ fewer than 500 individuals. And we saw that last week with the act that was signed into law. And we're seeing that again with what they call the CARES Act, which is still winding its way through Congress.
People getting more money is obviously going to help pay the rent. In the minute or so we have left, let's talk about landlord-tenant issues, because that's going to come up.
Yeah, certainly. We're seeing landlord-tenant questions in the context of a residential relationship, commercial, and even a good one, people who work at a salon, whether maybe they do hair and they rent a chair from the salon owner, and now they're still obligated to pay rent for a chair that can't be filled, no fault of their own.
Right.
It's the same with tenants who don't have an income. They can't pay rent. And landlords having to face this issue too. So what we're speaking with people we know are trying to work very closely with the landlord, if they're a tenant, to try to get maybe a deferment of rent so that the landlord doesn't have a reason to come back in a couple of months and say, look, you didn't pay your rent, you didn't make an attempt to pay it, and therefore we're going to evict you now. Because the governor has instructed the sheriff's departments not to do any forcible evictions.
So
and the courts are shut down. So it's really difficult for landlords to evict anybody. When the courts shut down, it is very difficult for the wheels of commerce to continue to move in any capacity.
Yeah. So very quickly, we have to wrap up here, but if you cannot pay the rent right now, best just to start by reaching out to your landlord and seeing what you can figure out.
Absolutely. That's the number one thing. Speak to your landlord, explain the situation, the landlord will understand. Try to get them to really work with you and get something in place so that you can continue to do the things you need to do to provide for your family.
David McDivitt of the McDivitt Law Firm, we always appreciate your time and your expertise. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Don. Take care.